Hello students, this is Dr. Amarpreet Kour, a lecturer of Jammu and Kashmir Education Department. The topic that I am going to discuss today is going to be very interesting as I am going to give you a theory, but you people are performing experiments in your gardens. Any guess? Okay, I will tell you. I'm going to discuss about artificial methods of vegetative reproduction. It's very common in our Kashmiri culture as 90% of people are related to agriculture and horticulture. And in our vernacular language, that is Kashmiri, we know this technique by the name Paiband. Yes, I'm going to talk about different methods of Paiband. So the first one is cutting. In cutting, we cut pieces of stem, leaves, and roots and we plant them in nurseries. Now the rooting is induced in these cuttings. For induction of roots, we use a chemical. Actually, it is a hormone. Remember it. Auxin. Okay? So different forms of auxin we use for the induction of roots. Okay? For example, indole acetic acid and indole butyric acid. Now we have three type of cuttings: stem cuttings, leaf cuttings, and root cuttings. I am going to discuss one by one. Firstly, stem cutting. It's a very common artificial method of plant propagation. In this system, we cut a 20 to 30 centimeter long piece of 1-year-old stem and we put the lower end of the stem into dilute auxin for several minutes before we plant it in soil. The lower end develops adventitious roots. I guess you people know very well what is the adventitious roots. Anyways, adventitious roots are the roots that arise anywhere other than root. Okay? They can arise from stem or leaves. The exposed part of this piece of stem, it forms shoots. Okay, the buds are present on the exposed part of shoot and it forms the shoot system. Example is rose and citrus. Now leaf cutting. In leaf cutting, leaves are cut transversely. Okay, not horizontally but transversely into 2 or 3 parts and they are planted in vertical position in the soil. Remember, they are cut transversely but they are immersed into the soil vertically. For successful leaf cutting, besides induction of the roots and formation of the adventitious buds is also important because adventitious buds they give rise to shoot system. Now root cutting. In this system, long pieces of roots are cut and used to artificially propagate into new plants. Remember, for generation of new plant from any of the cutting, two things are very important. Number one is the adventitious root and number two, adventitious buds. Okay? This method is common in lemon, tamarind and raspberry. And for leaf cutting, I will give you the example of snake plant. Okay, we are propagating this system leaf cutting in snake plant. Now layering. Layering is a type of root cutting method. Okay, in which adventitious roots are induced to develop on a soft stem while it is attached to the plant. Clear? It means that from a stem, okay, or any part of the plant, mainly stem or a branch, we induce the adventitious roots. Okay? It is carried out on 1 year old basal shoot branch, and we usually prefer to do it at the early spring or early rainy season. Now, how it is performed? Firstly, we choose a soft branch, okay? Then we defoliate it. That means we remove all the leaves from this branch. If there is a bud, we also remove that, okay? Then we made a small injury or a cut. This cut can be an oblique or a V-shaped cut, and we can also remove a ring of the bark. Now, this injured, defoliated part of the plant, it is immersed in the soil to develop adventitious roots. The part of the branch which is immersed down in the soil is known as layer. Clear? Only that part of the part of the stem which is inside the soil is known as layer. Later on, when the roots develop, the layer is separated and planted. We have three types of layering. One is tip layering, another is trench layering, and the third one is the very important, and it is goatee or ear layering. In tip layering, a shoot is bent down in the soil while it is still attached to the main plant. Soil is then pressed. It induces root formation and later growth of shoot. When it becomes independent plant, we simply cut this branch from the main plant. This is known as tip layering. Okay, clear? Band shoot when still it is attached with the main plant, and it after some times it will induce roots and also the shoots will be formed. Then later on you will cut this branch from the main tree. Now it is a trench layering. Trench layering is similar to tip layering, but what is happening over here? Firstly, you will make a trench. Trench is like a pit, okay? The basal branch, it is pegged, or you can say it is immersed in the trench and made in the soil. It develops in a number of vertical shoots. Okay, example is our common walnut, or you can say in our vernacular language, doin. Now the third method, it is goatee or ear layering. Remember it. It is an ancient horticulture technique for propagation of tropical and subtropical trees. Goatee or air layering, it is only possible in monsoon rains. Okay, what you will do? You will just cut 3 to 5 centimeter long ring of bark. Okay, from the basal region of a healthy branch. Okay, it is then covered with a thick plaster of grafting clay. Grafting clay, I will give you the composition of this clay. It contains one part of cow dung, one part of finely cut hay or moss. Okay, moss is bryophytes, and 2 parts of clay. You can add small water and plant hormones like indole acetic acid and indole butyric acid. Then it is wrapped with a polythene bag. After 2 and 3 months, root will appear. Now this shoot is cut from the covered part, and it is used for plantation. Example is lychee and pomegranate. The third one is grafting. Grafting is a technique of connecting 2 parts, okay? 2 parts of different plants, usually a root system and a shoot system, and we actually join them in such a way that they develop a composite plant. In this type of grafting, cambium is very important. Okay, A small shoot of plant with very good characters is selected. Okay, it must have several buds. It is called stalk. Usual length of stalk is 10 to 30 centimeters. Okay, and this length is considered from the base of the roots. Leaves and buds present over this stalk are removed. In grafting, we fix another shoot on this stalk, and this shoot is known as scion. And remember it is mandatory in grafting that these stalk and scion we must connect them in such a way that the cambia of two of them must come in contact. The unit is covered with grafting wax. It is then tied with the help of bandage, tape, or rubber. The buds of stalk which is present below the sign, okay, are not allowed to sprout. They are removed as we will notice them. An example of this grafting is mango, apple, pear. Okay, in these plants we perform grafting. With this lecture, I have completed artificial method of vegetative reproduction, and with the grace of Almighty, tomorrow I will take sexual reproduction. Thank you for listening to my lecture. In case you have any question, you can visit my website, that is www.amarpreetkour.com, and you can post your question over there. You can also download some lectures.